48 of Force Choke Podcast. The council would like to welcome everyone to episode 48. We have a great show for you and a very special guest, Daniel Benavides, co-owner of the CC Comic Con. Daniel, this will be your second time here with us. Thank you for taking some time to schedule to spend time with us. Let's kick off the show with some Star Wars news, and then we can spend the rest of our time focused on Daniel and the Corpus Christi Comic Con.
Yes.
Okay.
There you go.
All right, so first up, we're going to talk about Oscar Isaac, who portrays Poe Dameron, confirms that the unused footage of Carrie Fisher will include scenes he filmed with her in The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi.
So at first we thought it was just from The Force Awakens that they were pulling unused footage from. So Oscar Isaac recently said, no, it's not just from The Force Awakens, but it's from The Last Jedi as well.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to be using footage from both movies for her portrayal in The Rise of Skywalker. So who knows how much footage they have there?
Yeah,
you know.
I hope it's a lot.
I'm thinking it is. I think it is. I'm thinking at least 30 minutes of probably unused stuff that they have.
But is it going to stick with the? I mean, you got to think about the stories are so different in the first two movies, especially like the second one being such a different tone from the first movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like they gotta you gotta get together the same Leia from these two movies, or put together a Leia that we can tell is Leia, and you have because the second movie is just so different. You know what I mean when.
You were talking about
it before,
the tone, right?
It's just very, very different. They try to joke around a lot more with their characters, and I thought the first movie was a little bit more serious. But yeah, I mean, Carrie Fisher, we have to get that final Carrie Fisher where everybody knows, okay, this is our Princess Leia, and and everybody should admire her and honor her for her great work. But I don't know if you guys I've seen a picture and I remember sharing it to you guys. And then for those of you out there who have seen the trailer, there's an image of Leia where she's hugging Rey.
Oh yeah.
And that image we do see that before, and I think that was in the first film where she's hugging Leia's hugging Rey. And it looks to be the same image. It's just it's footage from. Looks to be footage from The Force Awakens, and it's just redone for this film.
Yeah,
and that could be what we will be seeing.
Yeah, and so maybe not just unused footage, but previously used footage as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
is what you're saying.
Because like they had different facial expressions for Rey during that scene. They could easily just for her to reshoot that kind of, and then use her, I guess, new facial expression and put it onto the old one, so it's still her kind of like it's just manipulating like her image, Rey's, and so in that way they can use the old footage used to portray something different in this new story. Because like when she hugs her in the first one, she doesn't have the same facial expressions. It looks different, but I understand what you mean, that it looks like it's the same scene, at least from the case of Leia. So I mean they have so much stuff that they can do with special effects and whatnot.
They got archives.
Like almost like so long as we don't manipulate Leia, but even though she's in a different context, it keeps her image alive without like tarnishing it.
What do you think, Daniel?
It'll be interesting to see. I thought they would have written her out in the previous movie.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, we'll see how much they can use, how big of a role she'll have in this new movie, The Rise of Skywalker. But I mean, it's sad.
Yeah,
it's sad, especially with not to go off on a tangent, but with Peter Mayhew passing.
Mm-hmm.
You're seeing all these perennial Star Wars legends pass, and it'll be. I hope that they're able to pay homage to both of them in this last movie, especially since it's the last movie of this story.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see, man. I'm really excited to see how it plays out.
Yeah, it's and I don't know if we talked about it last time, and I bring it up every time. It's like because this is the last one, and I mentioned this several times. they don't really have to quote unquote kill her off,
Right.
right? So, let's see what they do. You know what I mean with this footage that they have. I'm kind of curious to see what they're gonna do with it too. What else you got, Tim?
What's the next thing here?
So Game of Thrones creators officially get the new Star Wars film or franchise, if you will, a trilogy, and not everyone is happy about that.
Why?
So what are we thinking?
People are grumpy.
Well, probably because I'm grumpy about Jon Snow.
So, right, we do this every once in a while. So, who here watches Game of Thrones?
Everybody here watching.
Everybody,
Yeah.
right? Everybody at the table watches Game of Thrones.
Mhm.
So, how do you feel, Sarah, about how it ended? Because I think that's where this.
It's what it boils down to is everybody's pissed off because they weren't happy with the ending of
Mhm.
Game of Thrones. Well, I mean, I'm content with it. Well, because y'all know my opinion.
Mhm.
It's up to the artist's interpretation, right? It's up to the writer's interpretation.
Mhm.
Was it what we expected? No. Do we all have to like it? No. But I mean, it's the series that we've enjoyed up until now, and people are
Mhm.
grumpy that it didn't end the way they wanted it to. So they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, this is gonna be crap. I'm not gonna watch it now." Like,
Yeah.
sorry, I got a little animated. But I mean, I am okay with the last season of Game of
Yeah.
Thrones.
I'm okay with it too. No, I know you're not okay with it.
I didn't say anything
They have,
yet.
I mean, it stopped me anytime, man. But I'm just saying, these guys put together possibly, I would say one of the greatest shows of all time, especially in this era, right? With this generation. Everybody was talking about it. Got so much press, social media. All these actors and actresses in the show have blown up, and now these writers are getting their own gig with Star Wars. So I don't think we can completely judge them based off of one failure of their last season, based off the people's
An interpretation of
okay.
that.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't
based
either.
I mean, not off of what, because I think actually the last season, to me, I mean, for the time that they had to work on it, was success.
Mhm.
But to a lot of other people, it wasn't. It wasn't as good as they'd liked it to have been. Which is, I think they're reaching for more than they had to what they had to work with, what was given, or which they asked for, actually, because HBO went to them and they asked them to work
Mhm.
on. So it's like by the end of that season 5, HBO goes to them and they ask them to do 3 more seasons, which would have been 6, 7, where it ended at 7, and we would have gotten an 8, and each season would have had 10 episodes each,
Mhm.
so which would have given them enough time to iron out all the details, the plots, and the story, and give it more understanding for the people, the audience, to see, what's going on here. Because then we see, they decline the offer, and they says they can do it in 2 seasons, and they didn't have like a set amount of time, like how many episodes, until they gave the amount of time later on. I think when they had more of their story worked out.
Yeah.
It said 2 seasons, and then they were gonna figure out the episodes later, which they did, and it ended up being 7 episodes for season 6, and then 6 episodes for season 7. But that was their decision. They decided, and they did great up to that point, and they decided to cut the story in half. So 30 episodes down to what is that? 13 episodes,
or so,
yeah.
yeah.
And say, we can still do a great job and finish the story. But personally, I think that these guys were, they had established themselves that they had, done a great job at their creation with that show, writing and producing it, that they wanted to hurry up and move on. And they knew that there's an opportunity there with Disney. And I don't know if Disney called them, or they knew something
Mhm.
about Disney having their Star Wars going on, but I think that may have had a play if they had chosen to do 30 episodes, 3 seasons, they might not have had the chance to sign up with Disney
Mhm.
and to hurry up and get the story ready to go and the new trilogy out.
Yeah.
So they cut this time short so they can have that time with Disney,
Disney.
and creating the new, Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah.
So I think they still have a great story. They can tell a great story, and Disney already has that background. All their movies tell great stories, and they can tell a great story their own way with all the material that they have. If it's the rumor that everybody's saying with the Old Republic, I mean, all the material's there. All the material was there when they had did Game of Thrones.
I
Like, so
think
much stuff to work.
Are you trying to
Tim,
convince me
well,
or yourself?
I think that's what people are scared of, right? Is that they had source material, except for the very end. And then the very end is where a lot of people say, okay, that's where it fell apart.
Well, it's a little bit tricky. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
Okay, let's say they did have that source material for the very end.
Mhm.
Do you think they still would do 3 seasons? Or are they still going to say, no, we want 2, and then still work with the
Yeah.
source material?
We know
Like,
that.
yeah, we won't know.
We won't
But
know.
I'm just saying, like, we can't judge him. I don't think we should judge him off of what we got at the end of the.
Mike, will you read that for me right over there, the second part for?
Some fans are up in arms with the storytelling decisions during the final episodes. These decisions have triggered criticism from some fans. Jeez. Some unhappy viewers took to Twitter suggesting that the pair known as D&D might be the ruin of Star Wars. Thoughts?
So Daniel, you watch Star Wars,
Yeah.
you watch Game of Thrones, and prior to starting here, you said you kind of got off of it for a little while, and then you came back to it because you had seen spoilers and stuff like that. Do you hold any concerns like some of these fans about their trilogy that they're getting?
Well, so I guess we're agreeing that Star Wars hasn't been ruined already.
Yeah. Tell,
You know what I mean?
Talk to us about
Like,
that.
are we? You know what I mean? So you have to look at
Mhm.
what we have with episodes 7 and 8.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know. There's. I'll take like the diplomatic approach. So like you have. I love that we can have these conversations, right,
Yeah.
guys? I love it.
Yeah.
You have people that are so heated on one side, people that are so passionate on the other side. So we're having great conversations, right, guys? That's what it's all about.
Exactly.
I don't know, man. I'm excited that they're going to make more Star Wars movies, right? You can have these new stories told, or you're going to have stories told of the source material, and I think that's great.
Mhm.
I think these guys are really talented because what they've done with Game of Thrones was excellent, right? And we can, debate and talk about what we thought of the ending.
Mhm.
And I think sometimes we get it wrong. And maybe this isn't the best example because it's actor portraying a character, but especially when you have celebrities being cast as certain characters,
Mhm.
we have strong opinions on that. Obviously now with Robert Pattinson as the new Batman, right?
Batman.
Batman. Also with
Taylor Lautner as Robin.
no. One thing that sticks out, and that I was very critical of, was when Heath Ledger was cast as Joker.
Mhm.
I was one of the guys like, really, the dude
A
from
lot of
10,
people are, yeah.
the dude from 10 Things I Hate About You, that guy, really? And
Amazing.
it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And so, I don't know, man. I'm open to it.
Yeah.
I don't think,
Wait,
studios. I don't think studios will carry much weight in what people say on Twitter. That
Yeah.
being said, what people said on Twitter about Sonic the Hedgehog, that's going to be decided. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
You hear about that?
That is cringy or what?
I
the
was
look
still-
of it.
the
They don't
public-
like- they don't like the look of it, so they're
Yeah.
going to change
Public-
how he looks.
Yeah, public opinion was so strong that they went back and said that they were going to adjust that.
Yeah.
And then now the movie's being delayed by, I think, almost a
This
year.
is
Yeah.
one of the first times that
Yeah.
I've seen the public opinion change
Yeah.
That's
the movie was
Yeah.
coming out.
Yeah, change the
nice.
direction of a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so. I mean, maybe that's the precursor to
I
seeing a
remember-
trend.
We had this conversation like last year on the podcast, how the people are gonna in the future start these
Choosing.
guys are gonna start more and more listening to the people, listening to the fans, and changing things according to how we feel.
Because could you imagine let's rewind time back to when Return of the Jedi came out, and let's say we had this social media boom back then, and George Lucas put Ewoks in the film. Could you imagine people being like little teddy bears? would he have wanted to change that?
Man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in that holiday special.
You know, it's true. Yeah. You know, would Boba Fett look different? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's so many.
Well, now you have all this data and information
Mhm.
that production companies
They're
can
paying to
pull from.
collect, yeah.
They can pull from, and they collect that, and they can find out what people like and
What's
dislike and what they
successful,
want. And because if we give them what they want, the majority they want, we're gonna make a ton of money.
Yeah.
And so you have that information at your disposal, and I wouldn't be surprised if it does impact or affect what production companies do with how they approach a storyline, especially something as big as Star Wars.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, the Star Wars story has spanned decades, man.
Yeah.
Decades, and it's going to
Mhm.
continue on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we'll see,
even
man.
if they fail the trilogy.
Well, I'll even say, like, for me, I feel like they fumbled the finale. I'll just simply say that to put a simple explanation. I think that I never walked away from before the season. I never walked, away from an episode after finishing it being like, man, I wish I did something different. I was always very happy with what I saw.
Yeah.
Now, coming into the season, a lot of criticism was coming out about each episode. I'm like, no, have faith. They're going to wrap it up really nice. And then last episode came, and not to say that it should have been exactly what I wanted, but when I saw what it was, I was like, what the hell,
Yeah.
Like for me, it's like I have to add this to the list of great shows that messed up the finale. And just in my personal opinion, but having said that, I think one thing that we can all at least agree on as far as Game of Thrones is, don't look at this last season. They did a phenomenal job beforehand. So watch the first movie for Star Wars, because if they did great through seasons 1 through 6, I'm sure we'll at the very least, get a great episode 1 and 2 coming from these guys, and then you can make. Well, I'm saying, but at that point, you can make a true assessment if you really want to have this toxic fandom come in and like shut this shit down. You know what I mean? Like it won't be necessary.
Mm-hmm.
So like, even for me saying that I feel like they fumbled the ending, still have faith that they're going to do a good job with this. But something that you did mention, I think we could maybe exercise caution. It was interesting though, because it did already come out with that they were going to do this trilogy for Star Wars, right? And so even seeing how they ended Game of Thrones and stuff, they already knew in the back of their mind, I got a timeline. I got to finish this so I can go to the next project. Who's to say that this doesn't happen again? And this can be for any director, not just these guys.
Yeah.
But who's to say that doesn't happen again? They're finished. We see a great first 2 movies from them, and then the third movie could kind of be like up in the air, and they're already committed to another project. And then they fumble on that because they want to get to the next thing. Does that make sense?
Well, I heard I saw it was just a real quick interview with George R.R. Martin on like the red carpet somewhere, and I don't remember what it was, but they asked him. This is after the last episode, the last season, everything had aired, and the people had their reactions, stuff like that. They asked him what he thought of D&D and their work with the last season, or like having to shorten it up, and how it went so fast. And he said his response was that he had enough work, he had enough books or stories to tell, that they could have gone up to 12, 13 seasons to tell his entire story.
Mm-hmm.
They could have done that. He said, but they chose not to. And he said, he goes, that's fine. That's not that he was throwing any shade or anything. He just said that, he goes, I guess they realized they have lives.
Yeah.
Like they have lives too. You can't be working on 15 years, dedicated to one project.
Yeah.
It's a lot of time.
It is.
You have to have that passion for it. I mean, to live out, it could be a quarter of your life to to work all that out.
Mhm.
So, and you leave your mark. And I think these guys realize they already did that. They left their mark, and it's time to end it and move on from it.
I'm curious if I don't know what y'all think, but do you think that maybe the directors, creators of the show, thought that George R.R. Martin was going to be done by the time they got to the end of their series,
Okay,
and they would have been like, "Okay, look, we're good because we're gonna tell this big old story. He'll be done writing his books. That story will be over. We'll have source material to go from. We'll know how it ends. We'll wrap it up, and then we'll go on to our next thing." But from what I hear, this author takes a long time to finish up
and
his
he's already
books.
taking up other projects. It's not even his books.
Yeah.
It's got a new show coming out that he's in charge of, creating the story. They got a new Game of Thrones game coming out that he's in charge of, directing their stories.
Mhm.
So,
He's
but
busy.
I mean, I'm going to go back and say that he had already told D&D how the story was going to end. They knew how it all was going to tell. So from the beginning, I think they already knew Bran was going to. Spoiler alert for anybody who's listening. Yeah, that was going to happen.
Well, what was going to happen?
Exactly what was going to happen. But I mean, the whole point of the story was to break the wheel, right? And that's from the very beginning. It's just this king after king. When is it gonna stop? And Daenerys had been talking about it. They had, they had to stop with Jon, because if Jon remained the king, the wheel would have kept going. I think it made more sense for him not to be.
Well, what I'll say
it would have
is
been another war. I mean, the Greyjoys were already saying like, "Hey, he better not. You better, get him out of here."
what I will say is, to bring it back to Star Wars, is that I feel like there was enough. They could have gone longer. Even George R.R. Martin says it. Yeah, that they abbreviated the story so they could finish at a certain point. But don't they hold a certain responsibility to do the story right? If you're going to have that time, if you're going to put in that effort, I get that you have a life, but you take on a project. Yeah. You don't want to let me do a really great job, and they just punt it at the very end. I didn't like because Bran's storyline could have made sense, John's storyline could have made sense, but they did so many abbreviated shortcuts that you miss a story to get to the finale of what they had. So in saying that, bringing it back to Star Wars, I would just hope that they would take this as a lesson, because they did a great show, even if they had source material or not, that they would take this as an example and be like, okay, maybe if we do any future projects, especially in the future, we need to hold the fact that we have 3 movies and we need to do this right. We need to spend the necessary time and not be, put down with work, logged down with work that would take away from the project that they already have in their mind. Because if that's the case, and it's like, all right, let's get this guy to do the first 2 movies and let's get someone else to finish it off. Like, they hold a responsibility because they took on that story and they made this great story. Mm-hmm. And then you kind of could just see that we need to finish this. We need to be done.
Trilogy. He just left after the first episode.
Well, that was decided before episode 1 was even started.
The next one that a lot of people didn't agree with.
Well, actually, I think you can take that into effect, because they asked him in the very beginning, before they even started shooting anything for episode 7, would you like to do the trilogy? And he said no, because he was scared that he would screw it up. And then after finishing episode 7, he said, man, I really wish I decided to do all 3. But now, if anything, he's our savior, because he wasn't the original director for episode 9. It was Colin Trevorrow, or whatever his name is, the one that did Jurassic World. Yeah, no. He came back. If anything, he took that responsibility on, like, okay, let me bring this home. Let me make this right, because I started this.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, man. You do have this responsibility. You're taking on a project and you want to do it justice. At the same time, I get it, of them being scared or having that fear, to taint a really historic name, and when it comes to the D&D from the guys from Game of Thrones, venturing into the Star Wars universe, because you could argue with what's been done now to Star Wars, as far as if it's gotten better or gotten worse or whatever. But these guys do have that responsibility. And I know George R. Martin has said that his ending will be different, obviously. So it'll be interesting to see how that turns out. But man, there is a seriousness, when it comes to the Star Wars name, upholding that mantle and doing it right. And you hope that they see the weight of it, the severity of it, and they're able to really tell a story from start to end, the whole thing, and really just give it the time that it needs and not rush it, but we'll see, man. I'm excited. I think the more the more that we get is awesome, but hopefully it's not like too much of a good thing, because it was awesome when they said they're going to make 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
But a lot of people weren't happy with 7 and 8. So do we want to go back and like, hey, let's make 7, 8, 9? It's like, oh, wait a minute, we should have let it. But I don't know.
It's all money driven.
Yeah.
I mean, part of the thing I didn't mention was like, I kind of touched it, but like D&D leaving for the money. Disney probably offered them a crap ton of money. I mean, money coming out of their ears.
They're the D in Disney.
It's like,
they gave
dollars.
They gave them the D in Disney.
So I mean, they have, HBO is just like chunk change to compare to what Disney's gonna be giving them, and then all that revenue coming in with Disney, just so much money.
And I get that, but kind of like what we were talking about, the whole Sonic problem. Even though Twitter is a black hole in itself, it's like everything bad on the internet, it's on Twitter practically. People's voice were heard for them to make that change. Yeah. And in the case for this, they could throw a lot of money at the guys, and maybe this would be an incentive for them to maybe continue on later on. After, maybe even with Disney or after the fact, despite the money that they're getting. But
you had an example the other day. You said, for example, like our podcast, right? Let's say, we're just a local podcast, out talking about Star Wars. And
go ahead.
Come back to it. No, go ahead.
Anyway, we have, we have shows to do. We have stuff to talk about. We have guests planned, everything, right? And what happens if somebody like Disney comes to us and says, "Hey, well, we want to buy your show. We want you to come on. You can be a part of that show with us." And what pay Sarah, you, everybody here, and we want to start as soon as we can.
Daniel gets a cut too.
What?
Of course.
I want part of
See, I'm looking out.
We need to start. We need to start the first of next month.
Yeah, and we got to do it now. Like we got to do first, or we got to move on. We got to find someone else. But we got to make that big time decision.
Yes.
Like, oh, guys, like we're gonna have to cancel our guests. We're gonna have to, do a lot of things just to make this happen. So it's like that would be like D&D cutting off the show. Like, I got to do this now, or else they're gonna miss the opportunity to work.
And the people that have been following us since we started are like, man, their last couple of shows weren't all that.
Yeah,
seemed like they
maybe so maybe here's a possibility, right? Disney comes knocking at the door, so they rush Game of Thrones. They said, look, we're gonna piss people off, but we'll win them back because we're gonna make a really good Star Wars show.
I like that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like maybe that's the thought process. Like, look, we're gonna piss off some of these Dragon fans, but we'll make. You know what I mean? I don't boil them down to Dragon. I'm a Dragon fan. But maybe they're like, hey, we can fully dedicate ourselves to this trilogy that's going to take us however long, 9 years or whatever.
Yeah. And to go back to what you were saying, Micah, what if they rush the end of Star Wars? And from my understanding and kind of
Star Trek, I mean, what the hell? Sorry, go ahead.
The research that I've done is that HBO has pretty much loaned Benioff and Weiss to Disney, said, okay, we know y'all are going to make a trilogy, go make it. And then when you're done, you come back because we have stories that we want you to do for us.
Mhm.
But go make your stuff, and when you're ready, you come back. So maybe they're going to be given the time.
And they're contractually obligated.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Obviously.
right. Let me see
Yeah.
the contract on that.
I haven't seen the contract, but from the words that I hear,
Yeah.
they're on loan. Like here you
Yeah.
go make it. When you're done, and then you come back.
And of course, that all can change because, I'm sure Disney, if anyone has the power to buy out,
Yeah.
it's Disney and say, hey, it's still, it's
You're
great,
good, you're
but
great.
We want to keep them.
Yeah.
How much?
Yeah.
They bought
Yeah.
Star Wars for $4
Or
billion.
they just buy HBO.
And
So like, oh, how much are these guys doing?
What'd you say?
How much for everything?
Yeah.
How much for everything to be in the
Yeah,
film?
yeah, all of them.
The
Yeah.
whole thing. Yeah. Wow. What did buy HBO?
But to get quickly back to my point is just that seeing the change with Sonic and seeing that the public is actually having a point where they're almost part of the decision making.
Yeah, he has one eyeball, not two.
The directors have a responsibility, or the writers have a responsibility to ensure that they produce the best that they can. Now Disney holds that responsibility with them, because if they know they're going to be cutting off like towards the end, kind of like what we did with HBO, with that in mind, that's where you're going to start to see some of these fans disassociate away from Disney. Like, yeah, they have a lot of things, but it's like, now I know like they're disingenuous. They're just simply doing it to make money. And I get it. Everything runs around money. But you're going to start to see the lackluster from everything that Disney's doing, or the fans for what Disney's putting out, being that they see that. Like, we're just doing this to put out money. Yeah, it's,
Like,
crap quality.
money product, yeah.
Yeah. I forgot what you were talking about. I think it was for the movie Venom, is that like there was no incentive for them to do the best they possibly could because there wasn't at the time enough like anti-hero movies that would like force them into being like, this is cool, it's Venom. It's one of that kind of subculture. So we don't really have to do it really well.
Yeah.
But if there's a bunch of different ones, it's like, okay, we got to do Venom, but we got to do Venom right. We got to do Venom to the
because
point where it's the best possible
There's
show.
Carnage, and there's this one, and there's that one. And okay, now we have to get this right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm, saying in respect to this. I'm not saying that the D&D guys are going to mess it up. I think they're going to do great. But I'm just saying this is because Disney owns so much. Star Wars, Marvel, now Fox, and all their other original stuff. They hold that responsibility that, they're competing against themselves, but are the fans really still going to be following them if we start to see that their quality of movies, Episode 8, maybe Han Solo for some people, not us, but they start to see that quality of what they're producing is falling off. Does that make sense?
Do you think Disney Plus will kind of factor into that, because they're going to create a bunch of original content for Disney Plus? And so if we see a drop in quality there, do you think that's an indicator of Disney's just like, hey, we just want to rake in cash and put out all these shows, and it'll be quality over quantity over quality?
I think that would be one of probably the easier indicators for them, because it's like, all right, it's Star Wars. I'm going to go watch the movie at least once. You know what I mean? I don't know really how much information they're going to get from like, okay, we know this person would usually watch a Star Wars movie 3 times.
Yeah.
And this time you watched it 5 times. This next time, he only watched it twice. Next time after that, he only watched it once. But for a subscription service, you got to pay every month to continue it. So if you have like the initial, I don't know how many would go into Netflix or Hulu subscriptions. Let's just say 50 million. You get 50 million subscribers when Disney Plus first launches. Within let's just say the first year, you have an average of 50 million. But after that, if you start to see it teeter off in significant quantities, it's realizing, okay, what we have on there isn't worth it. Yeah. Isn't worth, even if it's only just $10 a month or whatever.
They're just not going to the Star Wars stuff. They're going to the Fox stuff.
Well, I mean, I just mean anything.
Oh, okay.
I mean anything, because Disney's going to have all that stuff that's theirs on the Disney Plus. And if they see a huge decline quickly, it's
subscriptions.
It's one thing, because it's one thing to see like an organic thing, like, okay, we go from 50 million to averaging to 45 million. Okay, well, they probably watched all the content. We need to put more out. But if you see like a drop from 50 to 25, there's something else.
Something dramatic. Yeah.
They're not liking what they're seeing, because again, the fans, the watchers, the public, the people, whatever you want to call them.
We're talking about with Vince McMahon and the WWE a little bit. You know what I mean? Yeah. Then that he needs some kind of competition to raise their level of entertainment and excitement.
For
and
a while,
stuff
he
like that.
hasn't had that competition to raise his level.
A long time.
Yeah, a long time.
Because we see Disney, the bankroll that it has, like, man, they can do these wonderful movies. But the other element is like, will they do them right?
Mhm.
Not just simply will they do them, but will they do them right? Because that's a different
And
conversation.
the only one that can answer that is Sarah.
the honorable Judge Coolsby. So what do you think, Your Honor? Yes, honor.
Honor.
Yeah.
What do you think, Sarah?
I don't know. I hope they do it right. I hope. I mean, I don't know. I guess we just need to see. Wait, as far as Disney or D&D or
I see what you're saying. You're saying this
All of
is,
them. You got to
this
comment
is
on
the
each
beginning-
bullet point.
You're saying this is the beginning of the collapse of Disney.
Yes.
That's what you're saying.
whoa.
Disney's
No,
going-
I
Disney's going bankrupt in 2025.
Oh God. No, we just wait.
And then
It's a
somebody will
fire
buy
sale.
it.
And then George Lucas can buy everything back.
George Lucas is the rebellion going against the empire.
Uh-huh.
That is Disney.
Oh.
Wait, did we have an argument about Disney not never selling?
Yeah.
We did.
And I was saying someone.
Would buy it.
What do you mean someone? You were having that conversation with me.
You were
Because you weren't being realistic about it.
Jeff Bezos is going to buy Disney.
He's like, how much? Let's give him some options to make him feel good about it.
Yeah. Wow. That was a good conversation there. But
I wish I could say the same. No,
let's move on. Let's move on. What do you got, Sarah?
Talking about Tim, but
Pictures.
You got pictures?
Yep. Vanity Fair pictures.
Vanity Fair pictures.
From the Rise of Skywalker.
Nice.
Yeah.
So tell us what you see.
I see Ray.
You see Ray
I see Kylo.
and
I
Kylo.
see a
Yeah.
desert.
And
Kylo looks like he has
Chris
some
Brown.
shoulder pads or something.
He
Or is
does.
that his cape?
But to tackle somebody, he's like,
I think it's just this
You-
cable
Is that his
folding
cake?
up right
Folded
here.
up.
attached to it,
Secures.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice.
but it could be pads just in case he does want to tackle someone.
True.
He's
He's
get,
not
get
covering
real
it.
nasty. I don't need to use a force.
Oh,
Anyway.
jeez. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know those
It's gotta be hot out there though.
those soundproof blankets that people hang on the wall?
Oh, yeah. It kind of looks like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like soundproof blankets.
Oh,
Oh, gosh. Now they're gonna take work up like that.
Yeah.
It's burn resistant, so we didn't.
That's
have to-
enough.
Oh, there
That's
you
far-
go.
that's far right.
Yeah.
Okay, next.
Yes.
Well, the good thing it's not leather, then it would be the Matrix.
Well, it's Ray.
The guy from Grandma's Boy.
It's Ray and Kylo again, but with lightsabers
Yeah.
on.
They're just posing.
Is it a tidal wave?
No, it's like
No, because you see
Is
the
it-
railing, like the railing or
you
whatever,
see
the
railing
grates.
from
From the Death Star?
I feel like that's what it possibly is.
possibly on the Death Star.
And there's.
She's
it's
leaving.
Snowing.
She's leaving
Is it
Palpatine's
snow?
vault and she's trying to run
There's
away.
just water crashing everywhere.
Wow.
Is this a set photo or just
These are, I think,
because they don't even look like they're facing each other? Like they're
Right.
not fighting each other.
They're
you know, and it could be some kind
Look
of.
where he, I mean, I can't.
That's
tell.
that's a fair point, actually.
Well, I mean, based off of like the way their feet are, her feet are pointing towards him, or first.
But look at her stance, almost as if she's blocking attack coming from the top, but his saber's down.
Yeah.
There could have been he knocked it back, but there's a rail on the left. Then he's got like some kind of ramp going across, which he's a bridge,
Mhm.
right? And then yeah, I know you're correcting me here. And then
You're just going to say you're like, or
Uh,
a bridge.
yeah, so it's like he's standing on this little bridge, and then she's standing on the other end of that.
Or maybe she's using it as an umbrella. No rain, don't get on me.
yes.
Do you guys like Ray? You guys?
Yeah.
This is a good character.
I like Kylo Ren better though.
We actually had a cosplayer on a few episodes back,
yeah,
Ray, and she said that she loves the Ray character, and that's one of her cosplays that she continues to go back to. But she said that she would like to see more of a progression in her character. You know what I mean? I guess development.
Do the more
you know what I
development
mean?
with her.
Yeah. So I like her character. I mean, I want to see how her story ends up. How do you feel? And, a lot of people feel like, oh, she's this. What do they call her? Like a yeah, like she's like no one, and she just came out of nowhere. You know what I mean? I'll be honest. Yeah.
I haven't been happy with what we've gotten out of Star Wars
Mhm.
now. Like overall, like
Yeah.
there've been, in my opinion, there've been some cool moments.
Mhm.
You know, like whoa, that scene was awesome.
Sounds like a firework display.
Yeah,
Like, oh, that was
Yeah.
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I just think back to certain instances where it bothered me.
hmm
And and suddenly episodes 1, 2, and 3 don't look so bad. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because I love those. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe I'm biased because to me, the new the episodes 1, 2, and 3, like that was my generation,
Mhm.
right? And so I have an affinity to those.
Yes.
Much like the original.
That's me.
That's you. And so is it just that? Is it because that's where I was in life? I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just we've gotten so far. I'd give it like a C plus, man.
Mhm.
Like,
As long as it's not like a
Great.
50.
Yeah.
like a C plus, because it's cool that we're getting these stories. Like it's cool. Like the fact, speaking in general terms, the fact when they said they were going to make 7, 8, 9, I was like, cool,
Yeah.
awesome, I'm on board. And then we were all there for I don't even remember what 7 was called.
The
Force Awakens.
Yes.
Awesome, right?
Mhm.
But it was just, and then 8 came along, and I was like, wow, really?
hmm
Really? Like when Luke throws the lightsaber?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
really?
that hurt. Man.
Yeah.
Really? Like
That hurt me.
I think I was
the whole
Yeah.
Force Awakens was we were building up to that. And
Yeah.
You spit in my face.
Yeah.
Like it just like that
Yeah.
really,
Is that like
really.
the Jon Snow did or something?
I didn't want it. I
Are we
didn't
talking
want
about Star Wars or what?
You know what I mean? Like it was just
Yeah.
it was I don't know, man. Like you talk about a company not listening to their fans. I felt like that was the biggest. We're not going to listen to you guys.
hmm
Like,
Sorry, we're making.
yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
That's what we think of that.
I think I was talking to Tim about that moment where imagine if when he got the lightsaber and he threw it this way, like get it away from me,
Yeah,
as opposed to
like it's nothing.
yeah, maybe some kind of either fear or
Yeah,
Yeah.
how there's fear instead of indifference.
yes,
You know what I mean? Because then if it's indifferent,
Yeah.
it's like what they say, the opposite of love is hate.
it's indifference. Yeah,
And
exactly.
so, yeah, man, it's just that
Mhm.
really
Mhm.
bothered me.
Yeah.
And there wasn't, and going back to episodes 1, 2, and 3, there wasn't, I don't remember being there a big thing that was like, oh, that really turned me off. But at the same time, maybe it's because I knew what I was going to get.
Mhm.
I knew we were going to see Darth Vader,
Yeah.
and
That
how
was
we
a
talked about
payoff.
it last time I was here. I can go on and on about just episode 3 and
Mhm.
what that meant and the significance of that meant and the culmination of that story
Yeah.
because we knew what we were getting.
Yeah.
With these, we don't.
Yeah.
And the fact that there is that fear of the unknown, it's like there are so many directions it could have gone, and I haven't been happy with it, man. And I'm gonna go see the new one. I'll be
Uh-huh.
there for the Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna see it. I'll see you more than
Yeah.
once.
And I have to apologize, Daniel. Sarah, you fired him up. I don't know why you took that one, that picture.
Get it out of my face.
Get it out of here. And she left it up. Did you see that?
The more I saw it, I was like, the more I saw it, I was mad. Now that makes sense. I just really.
Hear the sirens going off and Kill Bill.
Yeah.
Well, another character that a lot of people are not happy with in The Last Jedi, which we're looking at now, is Hux.
Yeah, the dude
With-
from
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Along with Richard E. Grant, looks like he's going to be. He looks like he's in charge there to me. Yeah.
I'll run this stuff.
Look
Yeah.
at his hand. He's got something there.
Is it a
It's
lightsaber?
like a remote.
Or
Looks like a gun.
Looks like a remote.
I don't know if you can.
Because it looks like his hands like forward, almost like the press, like a clicker.
Oh, Maybe
Like
he's
it's
got. Maybe he's
fire
doing a.
stick
Maybe he's gonna do a PowerPoint. And
Remember when that young guy was giving that speech where he's like getting really angry and he's yelling and he's like
Mhm.
really hardcore.
Oh, Hux and the
Yeah,
7?
yeah.
Seven, yeah.
I didn't get any
of
of that. I was like, dude, you just sound like a whiny kid
Mhm.
that didn't get his way. Like I didn't.
Mhm.
I don't get fear and the dark side, from him at all.
Mhm.
What do you guys think?
I said almost the same thing.
Yeah.
Because, the scene, the way they shot it, the way he acted and everything, like it was on par with like what you watch the History Channel and watching
Yeah,
Adolf Hitler give a speech.
yeah.
That's what we saw in episode 7 when he's addressing everyone before he decides to actually use their weapon, Star Killer base. And then last one, I'm just like, Daddy, please don't. Like, no, Supreme Leader. Then, hits him on the ground. And he's dragging him around just like a little child, So, I mean, I
Because
agree
that scene, when we first saw any footage from that scene in the preview, you just saw that huge area
Mhm.
where all the shooters were. And it was snow and it was ominous.
Mhm.
And you saw the big banners. And then when we finally saw it, it's this dude yelling
Mhm.
like a 12-year-old, to this big ominous scene, this
Mhm.
cavernous look.
Just like right after they destroyed how many? Like 6 planets?
Yeah.
Five planets? No, five.
And it was just
Trivia question: what was the name of the system?
This is just
Shut
like,
up,
Oh,
fool!
sorry.
anyway.
I want you to spell it. H. Isian.
yeah, but I don't know, man. I want to be proven wrong. Like I'm looking forward
Yeah.
to it.
You're getting people fired up
Yeah.
today, Sarah.
Oh,
You're getting people
sorry.
fired up.
That might be why the introduction of Richard E. Grant's character.
Yeah.
Is
Could
be
be.
like, yeah, you're supposed to be like me. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, maybe he's yelling because he's trying to project it like 100,000.
We can't hear you. Speak up.
They don't have any mics.
I was like,
they live in space. They don't have any mics. They can JBLs. Hello. Can you guys see me in the back? You good?
Got the sound guy back there.
They can-
You guys see me?
they can build a planet killer, but they can't,
Yeah.
construct a speaker in the background. Like, hello, can you hear me?
TK427. Oh my gosh. All right, what do we got for the next picture, Sarah? Don't fire people up now.
I don't know.
You don't know.
That'd be a great cosplay.
Yes.
Check
I can
with,
totally see
Holland.
that with people in there.
That's actually supposed to be, what's her name? The one from Americans.
Carrie Russell.
There you go.
Oh, really?
That's
Carrie
supposed to be
Russell's
her.
coming out of Star Wars?
Yes.
Yeah. That's actually supposed to be her.
Looks like a badass.
She looks a little bit badass.
I don't know if she's that.
Look at
this-
that. Look what
to
she.
me,
Those are
that's very,
swords.
like-
She's a mercenary.
it's like
She's
Cute,
a.
like, kill
Bobby-
later,
yeah.
okay.
She's
I like
a,
Carrie
It's
Russell.
like
Uh-huh.
take off
But
the back part.
I hear a butt
There's
there.
a butt.
Okay.
I like Carrie Russell, but what? Okay, let me ask you this: do you think in something like Star Wars, where you have these new stories or new stories now, do you think they should get relative unknown actors to play these new characters? Because when you get someone like Carrie Russell, who people know, like, do you see Carrie Russell or do you see
That character.
that character?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And that's sometimes hard for me,
yeah.
because I'll give you a bigger example. Tom Cruise.
That was the first guy I was thinking of. when you were talking about
I once
this,
made
yeah.
the joke where it's like
Yeah.
Tom Cruise starring as Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Like it's him.
You're like
it's Tom Cruise.
You're like I didn't like the Tom Cruise movie. Tom
Yeah,
Cruise
yeah.
didn't do good
He's
in
not-
it.
he's not Ethan Hunt. He's not Ethan Hunt in Mission Impossible. It's Tom Cruise. And so it's just,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think sometimes
Will Smith
actors get,
as a genie. It's like is it Will Smith.
Yeah.
or-
Yeah.
it's Will Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah, like-
And I think that's up to the director.
Yeah.
In this case, J.J. Abrams, to harness the actor's talent enough to get them out of themselves and be that character. You know what I mean? And that's when you know the director's doing a really great job.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Well, I mean, I kind of think like the unknown actors, like for these new roles that they're going to be throughout, like their roles going to be created through the trilogy, like, them trying to find someone for Rey.
Yeah.
I think they did perfect for that. But I think like the bigger name actors and actresses, they can have those small roles because look what happened.
Yeah.
Look what
Yeah,
happened
good
with
point, good
Forrest
point.
Whitaker.
Mhm.
You know, as the short role that he had for
Saul
Saul.
Guerrero.
Yeah, like you know it was him, but like he did such a great job. So like if he just has like those like
Fair enough.
5-minute
Fair enough,
scenes,
yeah.
it's
I
like,
agree.
oh man, that guy, you know, he did a really good job. I know it's him, blah blah blah. But like at least you're not focused on him
Yeah.
the entire movie, because if that's the case, then it's like, hey, are you still trying to get in that panic room? What are you doing, bud?
Yeah.
You know, but I don't know.
That's a good point, Micah.
That's in my
I
opinion.
feel like how they hired him.
They
Like it kind of
they're
gives
sprinkling him on.
unofficial. Huh? What?
Yeah.
But who?
Solo, he was kind of a nobody
Yeah.
before he played that big role.
Mhm.
Yeah, because can you imagine, you know, when they cast, you know, big names in a role, like, you know, you could argue Ben Affleck as Batman.
Mhm.
I liked him as Batman. You know, I loved his Batman suit. Hands down my favorite. I hated Bale's neck Batman,
Mhm.
skinny neck
Yeah.
Batman. I hated it. The movies were great.
But who's the Batman in your eyes?
Val Kilmer.
Michael, oh, you son of a bitch.
Val Kilmer wasn't bad. From what I remember,
No, he wasn't bad, but he wasn't like
Michael
my
Michael
Batman.
Keaton was.
Why
you
is
know, Michael
nobody
Keaton-
talking about Adam West?
He don't even. I don't think he had a
You're like,
leather suit.
No, Michael Keaton, because I grew up. Batman Returns,
Mhm.
my favorite growing up. I remember the McDonald's toys.
Mhm.
Oh, hell yeah.
They were the best. But so when he was cast as Batman, it was like, Ben Affleck? Like, really? You know, and I mean, I would have loved to have seen who they had cast before in the original Justice League, Armie Hammer. I would have liked to have seen that.
Mhm.
I don't like the early concept of his Batman suit, which is very kind of S&M looking. You know what I mean? But I would have liked to have seen Armie Hammer. He has the build.
Yeah, DC goes really dark for those comics. Weak.
But anyway, man. But yeah, that's a great point about having. You can have a bigger name actor in a smaller role, and you know, because she does look badass.
Mhm.
So you know, we'll see. I think I love these new things, but yeah, having a bigger name actor in a main role, like, I think
Might not always
it's
be the
hard.
best.
Yeah.
It's hard
Yeah,
to
I
pull
mean,
off.
Joaquin Phoenix is the Joker, man. I think I'm still hyped
Ooh,
about it,
that
even
was
though
a
he's
cool preview.
Yeah,
But he's just established himself as such a diverse, you know, he has so many diverse roles that he's such a versatile actor. He's like, what are we going to get from him? Hold on.
Yeah,
Shake the box. What do we get next? You know
and he's
what I mean, for
also
him?
he's not like I mean, he probably is now, but he was never like he hasn't been a leading man. He hasn't been a leading actor in a bunch of movies. He's been a main character.
yeah,
Mhm.
his character's strong
Gladiator,
characters, yeah.
Signs.
Mhm.
You know, he was a main character, but he wasn't the main character, but he was a prominent character.
Yeah.
And so I think him taking on Joker, I think that's gonna be great.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't consider him like a Tom Cruise. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Or a Ben Affleck.
What's that one
Or The Rock.
Yeah,
Or The Rock.
the AI.
Yeah. Our generation Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, right. For real.
So
What?
Where he's falling in love with like the AI.
Oh, you're talking about her?
Yeah, that's what it's called.
Yeah. I saw that movie.
I think he did a phenomenal job with that.
Yeah. I saw it in the theater and I really liked it.
Mhm.
But I haven't seen it again because there's some cringy parts in it.
Yeah. Well, because I never watched it, and then I finally saw it on HBO.
I got
Yeah.
depressed afterwards. Like I was like, whoa, this is weird.
Because it's like, would you, you know, like have that AI or whatever if you
Yeah.
could? And at the end of the movie, it's like, I get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
speaking
I
of
get his
yeah.
point.
speaking of
Yes.
people with AI,
Okay.
next picture, Lando.
Yeah.
Oh,
He
yeah.
he with AI and L3.
Oh, for real.
He's coming back to the ship
Mhm.
in the Millennium Falcon. So is that him right there smiling at L3? I'm back, baby.
I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it.
What do you guys like? Where you at?
Where do I insert my?
I like it. I like it.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He just looks old to me. Like, it just threw me off.
Well, you know, I, mean,
Initially.
I think he's a
initially-
partier. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
you know, would think he's six.
Oh, he's got to be 60 something, right?
Yeah, maybe close to
60.
70.
Okay, hold on. What I mean, like when I say he looks old, seeing him as Lando, but then seeing him in real life, he looks wildly different. In real life, he is like, okay, it makes sense. He's like distinguished gentleman kind of thing. And this one is like, he's been through the ringer,
Mhm.
but he's still having a good time. You
Oh,
see that smile on his face?
He was feeling good back then.
So-
Yeah.
Go ahead and click it. Let's see the next one.
But I am super excited to see him in this film. Yep.
That's a great picture.
That is. You know,
I got taken back there in the trailer when it shows him, and like Chewie's like, "Oh shit, let me hold on," like, yeah, it was great.
over the right hand shoulder of Poe Dameron
A new droid.
is that new droid.
Mhm.
DO.
Oh,
Yes, that little
Pixel
thing
Man?
right there.
You know, when you talk about Disney wanting to do things to make money, that's Disney doing things to make money.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Oh
all
hell
it
yes.
is.
I'm kind of scared
Mhm.
because, and you'll see, none in the trailer and none of these pictures do you see R2.
Hmm.
Any of them. And I'm wondering if something happens to him. And the same way they did with L3, take whatever components they can and put into the Millennium Falcon. What if they do that with this little thing on the side here? And that's actually R2.
No.
no.
I'm thinking- That was pretty dark. I'm thinking.
I'd have R2 become the part of the Death Star.
Oh, yeah, that'd be
Oh,
awesome.
Death Star? Jesus. No, well, because of all these pictures, like, with the exception of the one with Rey, like, you don't see Leia. I feel like he's probably with Leia
Mhm.
because when Luke took off, he completely shut down for years,
Yeah.
and then he finally came back. And so I feel like now, like, he knows that his master more or less is gone.
Mhm.
He's probably gonna chill with Leia until he like, oh, I need to replace this. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, like.
So what you got next there, sir? You got space
Space horses?
Horses. Space
dinosaur horses?
Horse elephants.
Horse elephant.
Elephants.
Horse
What?
Horsephants.
She
I like
has
that.
another one. Horse
You know what-
elephants.
what's that official name?
CGI puppets.
CGI puppets.
What is their name? Like, do they have a species?
That's Finn.
Oh, I don't know.
horse?
That, he's human.
Humanoid.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of,
FN 2187.
but they look cool.
Yeah.
Do they look Star Warsy?
They kind of got that
Yeah.
war paint going on
Yeah.
Mhm.
in their face.
And it's weird because she has actually an actual bow and arrow. Or do you think that's going to be like a laser,
She's got tennis shoes.
like
Maybe explosive.
digitally put in later?
Mm.
No,
It's an explosive.
You are high.
could be.
Mm.
No, I think that's a bow and arrow.
That sounds a rope.
But I
How
bet
is she
it's like
hold-
one of those explosive ones.
How is she even holding on to that horse? Look at her legs.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
See, there you go. Perfect. Look at her left leg. The what do they call it? A quiver that holds all the arrows.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Yeah, now I see what you're saying.
but
yeah.
her right leg is inside that little support.
Yeah.
Stirrup.
Wow.
What?
Because
That's
I'm
what
from
they're called.
Elotes.
Oh my god.
But yeah, she is sitting kind of awkward on there, huh?
I mean, they have like
Quick
trick
dismount.
riders for horses. So
Yeah.
maybe she's like.
Yeah,
ready
she's
for the
She's like in the
lifestyle.
Cirque du Soleil.
I don't see any horses. I see
Yeah.
horse elephants.
Horsefants.
The horse
Maybe
offense.
she's a horsefant
Is there a
rancher.
symbol on
Yes.
that horse's collar? The white one?
Oh, right under his
Yeah.
mouth or chin or whatever, right there.
They kind of have that look to me, like the way
Well, this one.
Finesse, right? From Solo.
Oh, Enfys Nest.
Empress Nest, yes.
Yeah.
That's the vibe you're getting.
Mhm.
Okay, I can see that. All right, Sarah. Let's see what you got next. I think that's a set photo there.
Mhm.
Yeah. There's 3PO.
He's getting his makeup done.
Hmm?
They're they're messing with his face.
I guess his sound is that bad. It's getting through the metal,
Yeah, probably.
Ooh.
covering him up.
Jeez, right? Oh my God.
I'm melting.
Keep going. Let's see what else. There's
Yeah,
Ray
what's up,
looking
huh?
very.
Ray and her Uggs.
Does she have a hood?
Yeah.
She has a hood, right?
Yeah, because that's pretty much the same stuff she
Assassin's
had in
Creed.
7.
Mhm.
Seven.
Yeah. Looks like Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, right.
'Cause
Mm.
with the hood. I didn't see that before.
Oh, that's cute.
That is cute, right, Chewie?
Yeah.
Chewie.
Chewie, you can't eat BB-8.
That's the new Chewbacca, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
What's his
Jonas.
name? Jonas.
Mm-hmm. All right.
This
Yeah,
right
the
here.
Knights of Ren.
What do you think about the Knights of Ren?
I'm looking forward to it. That's what I'm looking forward to. I wanted to see that last episode, but they're just like, hey, let's tease it in 7,
Yeah.
not put it in 8 at all.
Mhm.
And hey, we're gonna bring it back at 9.
I don't think we got to talk to it with you, but
Oh,
Ryan Johnson said
he was
if he would have put the Knights of Ren in this last movie,
Mm-hmm.
that they were going to be the Praetorian Guards and get
He was
wiped
gonna
out.
kill them all.
So he left them out in case they wanted to use them in this next one.
So I'll give that to Ryan Johnson for not killing these guys off. Because if all we saw of the Knights of Ren was essentially acting as stand-in guards for Snoke and
come
die
and
like
die,
that,
yeah.
then I'd be pissed. Yeah.
But see that's what would have happened. Like he said, like, oh yeah, that's what I would have done.
Mm-hmm.
It's more disappointment.
Yeah.
I'm not mad.
Yeah.
I'm just disappointed.
Disappointed.
Which
Right,
is
so-
worse,
so-
obviously.
You're
I'm not
really-
mad. I'm disappointed. Oh,
Sarah,
shit.
you
Run.
don't get to pick pictures anymore.
I don't.
See, you
Yeah.
firing
I
up our
know.
guests.
Wait.
Wait.
They
So
look cool.
look at this.
Oh yeah, they're pretty awesome.
Is that Paul Bettany?
Oh, that's from the
Where's
Back
Han
my-
Solo movie. Yeah.
That
So yes,
Who's Paul Bettany in the
crap.
previous.
No, that's his from Solo. What was his name in there?
what was he in? What was he in?
Some with
Solo?
a V or something.
He was Dryden.
Dryden Voss.
Dryden Voss. There you
Yeah.
go.
So if you look at that,
Oh yeah, he was. Yeah, that's right.
yeah, rage like a state.
Yeah.
So click to the back.
You guys
Back
like
again.
Solo? I really
Oh my
like Solo.
God.
Yeah.
That was really good.
Yeah.
So look at that weapon.
Wait, okay.
Look at that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now look at how it fades into
Solo.
Oh,
that weapon.
Lewis, you snake.
With
You.
the Mandalorian in the back.
God, I hope we receive.
so what are we alluding to?
This is connected to the what is his thing called?
Or it's
Crimson
the
Dawn.
Crimson Dawn from Darth Maul.
I'm thinking at the very least because we saw in a picture briefly from the Knights of Ren and the Force Vision scene in Episode 7
Mhm.
that one of them one of the armor of one of the knights looked very much Mandalorian. So I don't think it necessarily alludes that they are one and the same or that this particular knight stole that, but that one of them has Mandalorian armor. And I would assume the culture with the
I
Mandalorian
believe
that
that.
you're not going to have Mandalorian armor and not be a Mandalorian, or you're going to be dead.
stolen.
It could be stolen so long as they're Mandalorian. But either way, I think this at least alludes to a Mandalorian being one of the knights.
Because what's her name? Kira?
So we get to see Darksaber.
Kira was the last one to leave with that weapon.
She didn't leave with that weapon. Oh, she left it with the
She was on the
ship.
ship, yeah. it was
So we'll get to see the Mother of Dragons in this movie.
no. She has to be really
What do you think, then?
I liked her. I like her.
So did
I like her a lot.
So did I.
All right, we're gonna spend some time on Corpus Christi Comic Con.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think specifically, Sarah has several
Yes.
questions lined up for you,
Let's hear it.
and on the
Yeah.
clip, yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, you can do it up there.
You're
So,
trusting her after making him mad this whole time with all those pictures?
I'm
Redemption.
I'm like Daniel.
Oh,
I'm hoping for the best. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so first
Yeah.
one.
Yes.
When is it?
June 29th and 30th.
Did you say when?
When?
Where?
That is a Saturday. and a Sunday.
Saturday, Sunday. Yeah. Where is it? It's at the American Bank Center.
Okay.
Awesome.
Inside the big.
In Corpus
In the
Christi,
parking lot.
Texas.
In the parking lot. Oh,
Yeah.
We're gonna have a big
those
pachanga
poor
outside.
Yeah.
Here, sir, real quickly, because I
110.
remember when you were in here last time
Yeah.
that you were talking about there was kind of like a scheduling conflict about trying to get the American
Yeah,
Bank
yeah.
Center. So with this, seeing now that this is y'all's, I guess, first year
Mhm.
at the ABC,
Mhm.
does that mean y'all kind of got your foot in the door for future years potentially, or
Yeah.
that's
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 good.
awesome. Well, that's because that's a huge
Yeah.
like established place. you know.
Yeah. I'm very happy with the American Bank Center. I'm
Definitely.
very happy. You know, last time we talked, we had tried to get in there year one. We couldn't make it work. We tried to get in there year two. We couldn't make it work. We made it work this year.
Mhm.
And you're like, we're staying.
Yeah, I'm, you know, and I've told the American Bank Center this. The staff at the Richard M. Bush Regional Fairgrounds are amazing. They are amazing. They became friends. And you know, when we had to because I knew that we would eventually have to, right? I knew it. And so when the time came to break up with him, it was really tough. I had to do that.
Oh,
And it was, I cried in the meeting.
oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's just,
Wow.
I'm a very passionate person. I'm very emotional. And it was just hard because it was one of those things where it was just a pure business decision. I run a business. Me and my partners would run a business. And as much as I love the staff at the fairgrounds, it was tough. And, I've told you, Megan Banks, your staff have some big shoes to fill.
Mhm.
That being said, we started a business called High Tide Events. High Tide Events, we put on the Corpus Christi Comic Con. We want to do other events. And so, we could absolutely have an event at the fairgrounds in the future. So yeah, I mean the staff, Angela, Brittany, Stephen, all of them over there are really, really cool. But yeah, no, I'm super excited to be there, Megan Banks this year. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Excellent.
What to expect at C4?
What to expect?
Some great guests, festivities, cosplay contests, some great vendors. In my opinion, I felt like we've built a great show, and we've built a really good reputation. And so in the Comic-Con world, when you get celebrity guests at your show, their agents, will tell you, hey, my client had a great time, or my client didn't have a great time.
Mhm.
Fortunately, all of our guests have had a great time. And so that agent tells their other clients, like, hey, you need to come Corpus.
Mhm.
And that builds our clout, it builds our name.
Yeah.
And it's been great. We built a great name these past 2 years and going in our third one. And so we've had, we've been able to get some great guests that said no to us first year.
There's like, hey, on a come out again.
Yeah.
Third.
And so,
No pressure.
Yeah. And so it's great. And we're always about quality over quantity.
Mhm.
I don't think we'll ever be a show that has 50 celebrity guests. It's too many, in my opinion.
Mhm.
In my opinion, the quality will just get better. The caliber of guests. We've had great guests already, but it'll just continue to improve.
Mhm.
So
Excellent. You're doing good so far, Sarah.
So can you drop some names of who we might be seeing?
yeah. So Star Trek guests, because I know you like Star Trek, right, guys?
I love Star Trek.
Michael Dorn, who is Worf,
Yeah.
and Gates McFadden, who is Dr. Beverly Crusher. We have Dean Cain. Is that Dean Cain?
Nice.
He will be there Sunday only. I can say this right. He's not going to be there Saturday. His son is starting college, so
Yeah.
they're moving him. Dean Cain's a very big family man, and we said no problem. I love Dean Cain. He'll be there Sunday. Mel Flanagan. Mel Flanagan. I'm saying that right. She's the voice of Naruto. You guys know what
Oh,
Naruto?
okay, yeah.
Oh.
Perfect for
I know
I
Naruto's-
know, I was gonna
It is a
say.
shit
I know
weird.
Naruto's a big,
Everyone loves Naruto.
but I know it's a big show, and so
Mhm. Some of the guys from The Office.
Yes,
Are going to be
yeah,
there.
yeah. Leslie Baker and Oscar Nunez from The Office. The Office, my favorite show of all time.
Yeah.
Hands down.
That's what she said.
That's what she said.
That's what he said.
I don't know if you guys. I don't know if you guys saw it last night. I posted on Facebook. They were showing Goodbye Michael, which is Steve Carell's last episode.
Mhm.
Do you guys watch Office?
Yeah.
I-
Gee.
I think she watches it.
So
More.
every time
I've seen a couple
Oh.
episodes.
every time Goodbye Michael comes on, it's really sad.
It's hard. It's hard to
Really
watch.
sad. It's an investment when you're gonna watch Goodbye Michael. Like you have to
Yeah.
invest. Like I'm
You're
ready.
not going
I'm
out
ready to
later
get hurt
on.
again. like tears, like sobbing. My Young's was like, Dad is crying. I'm like, hey, I'm crying. They're really bad. We also have Chris Sullivan from he was Taserface.
Mhm.
Oh,
Tay-
God.
Yeah. He's also do you guys watch This Is Us?
No, I haven't seen that.
Great show. It's a huge show on NBC.
That's the one with
Um,
Ron Ventimiglia, right?
yes,
Yeah,
him.
okay. Mandy Moore.
Don't you mean the guy from
Yeah.
Heroes?
Okay. The guy from Heroes. Oh, I love him.
Yeah.
Okay. Next.
Great show, big show. I'm really excited to have him. One, because I really like This Is Us, and he was a great character in Guardians. We also have Sean Gunn
Oh yeah. Yeah.
from Guardians. Yeah, we have him.
Cool.
We have Rufio from Hook.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really?
Dante Bosco.
Ruby. Oh.
That's awesome. But he was also
He's in a couple other roles.
he was in anime. He was in an anime. Airbender.
Yeah, that's right.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't he have a role in? Was it Goonies?
The Goonies? No.
Yeah, it was a role.
No.
He had a role with Michael J. White, and
In
yeah,
Did you?
Blood and Bone. Oh, on Netflix.
I don't think I saw
It's
that.
a
I think I saw the preview for it.
Yeah.
What am I thinking of?
he like Michael J. White beats up Kimbo Slice at the
Mhm.
end.
yeah,
Kimbo Slice. I don't remember Kimbo Slice.
Dante Bosco. He was the leader of the Lost Boys and Rufio. He was Zuko in Avatar: The Last Airbender, and he was also Jake Long in American Dragon. We have Janet Varney. She is best known for Korra on Nickelodeon's hit series The Legend of Korra. So we have her. And we have some great artists.
You're gonna
Mhm.
you're gonna have Trent Westbrook there.
Yeah, dude, he.
And
it's funny because Trent Westbrook's got a huge fan base here in Corpus.
Mhm.
yeah, he's gonna be.
He's got very passionate fans.
Yeah.
In this room.
Yeah.
In this room.
He's actually gonna be our next guest at our next
Really?
show. Yeah, in 2
Very
weeks.
cool.
He's
Yeah.
gonna be coming.
That'll be his third time here.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're excited to have him. That's gonna be a lot of fun. He's got some very passionate fans here in Corpus.
Oh, yeah.
They comment on some of our posts, and it's great. We love the fan feedback.
Yeah.
We also have Walter Jones and Karen Ashley, some Power Rangers,
Mhm.
original Power Rangers.
Oh yeah.
So Power Rangers.
I know I'm aware.
Yeah.
Well, I saw that shirt. I was like,
Yeah, this is from
that's really
2017.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's gonna be a fun show.
So what you're saying is you're not gonna be bored. If
No,
you go to
no, no,
Corpus Christi
No,
Comic-Con.
one thing that we've always one of our main goals is to make Corpus Christi Comic Con a family show.
Mhm.
You know, something the whole family can enjoy. And so we have these elements where you can do stuff for kids at heart, for grandparents. There's truly something for everyone. And, you know, as a husband, as a father, this makes me truly, truly happy.
Mhm.
And with the Comic-Con, the majority of people know what a Comic-Con is, right?
Mhm.
But a lot of people obviously haven't been to one. You know, a big portion of our attendance from year one, they were local and they'd never been to one. So I know what a Comic-Con is. It's my first time coming, and they've had a blast.
Mhm.
You know, one thing that I'll never, ever get tired of is when someone's come up to me, you know, we're out doing an event, and they say, man, I went to the show. We had so much fun. We've gone every year, and we're going to be there next year, and we had so much fun. And I like this part of the show, and it just, man, it's music to my ears, man. Like, it's great. And so we want to do that every year.
Yeah.
And the more people go, the more we can do.
Mhm.
And yeah, man, one thing that sticks out to me is, you know, my oldest, he's 9, he'll be 10 in October. And, you know, he wore a Comic-Con shirt to school.
Oh, nice.
And his gym teacher says, "Hey, Comic-Con, I'm going." He's like, "Yeah, my dad's one of the owners." Just like, "What? That's cool," you know.
Yeah.
It's just you know, I tell him I can't wait for him to get older because I want him to be involved
Yeah.
with the show
Definitely.
and help out and stuff. But dude, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of
It
fun.
looks like you're enjoying yourself, which is
Yeah.
awesome.
Oh man, you know, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And you know, this year, so I don't know if this is one of your questions, but some things that we did different this year. We wanted to be more involved in the Corpus community. And so one of my goals was to have community events. And so we've had these cosplay contests at local businesses. You know, businesses have reached out. The manager from Freebirds World Burrito
Yeah.
here in town reached out to us a few months ago, and she's like, "Hey, I want to do like a cosplay night here. I love cosplay. I have some friends who do cosplay," and I was like, "Man, that's a great idea." And so through that spawned the idea of like, "Hey, let's do more cosplay events."
Mhm.
Our first one at Freebirds, standing room only. Man.
Wow,
We filled that
awesome.
place with cosplayers.
Cool.
It was so fun, so fun. And then we just had that. So it was burritos and cosplay, the same event. And then we did another one at TAC-TX Laser Tag out there on Rodfield here in Corpus. We did one there that was lasers and cosplay. We did one at one of our sponsors, Lorelei Brewery.
Yeah.
So that was brews and cosplay. And so having these things, man, it's a lot of fun. You know, I love cosplay. I'm a big proponent of it. You know, having events like that where people can come and dress up and win some prizes. And those have been great, man. And that's one of the things that we wanted to do this year because we had an event last year. It was a movie in the park. We teamed up with the Parks and Rec here in Corpus, and we showed a movie at the Cole Park Amphitheater.
Yeah.
And so it was fun. It was a lot of fun. We had like 300 people there. And so having these local events, not only is it a good time, it's a party atmosphere, but it tells people about Corpus Christi Comic-Con because that's what we want to do.
Absolutely.
And you know, we've done a handful this year. We'll do more next year, and we still have 2 or 3 more that we're doing this year. So it's gonna be great.
Excellent.
So, I guess this is like a combo question, but
Yeah.
how much is it? And are there like coupons or
Yeah.
promos?
Yeah, so you can get tickets on our website. You can also buy tickets at any HEB in the state of Texas, which is super dope. Tickets at HEB are usually a little bit cheaper. But something we're also doing this year for the first time is last year, so year one, we gave free entrance to veterans on Sunday. Year two, it was veterans and first responders, free entrance on Sunday. And so we're doing something a little different. We're giving them 50% off, but they can go the whole weekend. It's not just it's not just one day.
Okay.
Just to kind of help with schedules. Like some people are like, I can't be there on Sunday.
Right.
And so we're doing the whole weekend, 50% off at the door, and that's for weekend passes and single day passes only. Obviously, they need a valid ID or some sort of ID that says they work with the organization that we're giving a discount to. And it's active military veterans, first responders, so EMS, police officers, firefighters, dispatchers, and teachers. Anyone that works in a school district, janitor, office clerk, principal, teacher, they all get 50% off at the door.
That's something I was supposed to think yesterday.
Yeah.
I tagged my teacher. And my old teacher.
Man. And you know, my sister-in-law is a teacher. I have some veterans in my family. My wife was a dispatcher for a year, and that is a tough job. It made my wife a stronger person. And side story, in her first week of working, she helped save a 2-year-old baby who was choking.
Oh, wow.
She walked the father through a Heimlich. The baby survived. and that was like the first week of that. It was like,
Wow.
it was
That's
crazy.
crazy.
It was
Yeah.
wild. It was wild, man.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of, we have a lot of respect for these professions.
Yeah.
Anything we can do to, we always try to keep the price in a certain range, because it's an investment. It's not super cheap. It's not it's not $10 a ticket. It's not.
Yeah.
It's $30, $40, $50. And so we realize that it's an investment. You're going to come and spend a good chunk of money, especially for a family of 4, family of 5. So we want to try and keep it as affordable as we can. And we're going to do that every year. So.
Excellent. Great question, Sarah.
Okay, so you talk about having like bigger, I guess, caliber guests, right? So what else are you planning for the future?
Yeah.
That you're allowed to say.
No,
Yeah.
Or that you want to
that's
say.
Yeah. Well, we have.
I'll cover this. You can.
We
Whisper to us.
yeah. We definitely think about the future, and we definitely we have dates for 2020 already.
Perfect.
It might be more than 2 days.
Oh.
So yeah, we think about the future, and we want to build high tide events, right? And so we do plan on doing other events, but right now the Corpus Christi Comic Con is our main baby, and we want to improve every year. That being said, if something isn't broken, we're not going to fix it. If something works, I want to keep doing that thing. And so I think it's just increasing the caliber of guests every year, trying different things. We're not going to have the same ventriloquist every year, that we have a ventriloquist, but, always and trying to do something different. I go to Comic-Cons a lot, and I look at other Comic-Cons and I say, hey, that's cool. Like, I want to do that in my show. Or if they're doing something, it's like, man, that's not the best, or it's not a good idea, or something different. We at the fairgrounds, we were able to have our main stage in the artist area, or in the first room you walk into. We had our main stage where all the panels were. Panels are usually in a ballroom, and so that was different. And we had stadium seats, we had bleachers, and so that was great. That was really cool. And we got a big compliment on that. It's like, man, like, you guys had bleachers,
Like, so everybody can see.
so people can sit down. Because if you're there all day, you ever been to a Comic-Con and see people sitting on the floor against the wall somewhere?
Yeah.
And so it's hard. And yeah, we don't have that at the American Bank Center, but that was just unique to the venue of the fairgrounds. And so we're always just trying to improve and try different things. And I think everybody wants to be different, right? Comic-Cons, they're all over the place. But you have to do something that makes yours unique and yours fun, and really just fun. You want people to go, and people to have a good time. And so, yeah, that's just kind of the main vision. We don't want to plan too far ahead, because you always hear about, well, at least I don't know if you guys heard, but being an owner of a Comic-Con, you always hear like, oh, the Comic-Con bubble is going to burst, and I mean, it might, people might get tired of superhero movies. People might get tired of Star Wars movies. Like, it might happen. Is it happening right now? I don't think so. I don't think it is. So I think our city is big enough and supportive enough to keep Corpus Christi Comic-Con going for years to come, even if the bigger shows dwindle down in size or disappear or whatever. They're super fun to go to. It's a family environment. You don't have to worry about, an adult theme or, some drunk guy puking on the floor. And we want to keep that going. So
Very good.
So you talked about like the cosplay events that you've had at different local businesses. Are there any other events leading up?
Yeah. Oh man, absolutely. So You know, as well as being one of the owners, I do all the marketing for our show, well, social media marketing. And so I also, my wife and I, we do all the events leading up to the show. And so when you have Comic Cons, like, I think it's so fun for the Comic Con to have an event before the show.
Mhm.
Like, and it's fun. People participate, whether it's a cosplay contest somewhere or something. You give people an excuse to come dress up in a costume, they're going to go.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's fun. And so we've had 3 so far of our blank and cosplay, right?
Mhm.
We're going to have another one. We haven't announced it yet, but that's here. Hooks and cosplay.
Oh,
We're
nice.
going to have one at a Hooks baseball game.
That's
Oh,
cool.
Because the Corpus Christi Hooks are a sponsor of our show.
Yeah.
I see your hat.
Nice.
So they're a sponsor of our show, and it has been tremendous, man. I love the Corpus Christi Hooks. My in-laws, they're a Astros family.
Mhm.
So I married into an Astros family, and it's been great. And the Corpus Christi Hooks have been super tremendous, man. And it's a different market. It is a different market. It's not. There is some bleed over into the Comic-Con world, but it's not a Comic-Con world.
Yeah.
And so we were at our first game. We'll be at 5 games. We'll have a booth out there passing out flyers. We'll have a couple of cosplayers there for pictures. But dude, it was just a draw.
Mhm.
I mean, our table was packed and it was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
And so we're gonna have a Hooks and Cosplay June 23rd. It's a Sunday.
Mhm.
We will be at that game, and I'm waiting for the full details. But we will have a cosplay contest at the game,
Nice.
and that's going to be a lot of fun. And then, so that's the weekend before the Comic-Con. So for the month of June, every single weekend,
There's
starting technically next weekend, we will have something that the Comic-Con is going to be doing.
Mhm.
The week of this is cool. The week of the show, so I have a full-time job. I took that entire week off. We're going to have something every single day leading up to the
nice.
Comic-Con. And so I will be at a place, and if you come find me and say, "Hey, send me to Corpus Christi Comic-Con," I will give you 2 tickets to the show.
So
Oh,
where's
nice.
Daniel?
Nice.
That's cool.
It'll be "Where's Daniel?"
Nice.
If you come find me, say, "Send me to Corpus Christi Comic-Con," and I'll give you 2 tickets to the show. And so we're planning some cool stuff for that. We're also, Dave & Buster's is one of our sponsors.
Mhm.
We are going to have a D&B and cosplay as well
Cool.
at Dave & Buster's. And Dave & Buster's have been super supportive. The Dave & Buster's here in Corpus is not the typical size of a Dave & Buster's. It's a like a mini version, smaller version, but they are crushing it every month. They are knocking their numbers out of the park. It's a successful store. Have you guys been yet?
I
I
have
actually
none.
went last night for the first time.
Yeah? What'd you
Yeah, it was fun.
It was fun, right?
cool. Yeah.
How long was the wait for food?
I didn't eat.
You didn't eat? Okay.
Yeah, I just got
Well,
hurt.
there's probably a
But-
reason. So this is maybe about a month ago. They have had like a 2-hour wait for food.
Mhm.
People wait because they'll play games
Yeah.
and then
and
they'll
then
just
they'll come
eat.
back to
They'll
it.
come back
Yeah.
and eat.
Yeah.
And so they've been crushing it, man, and they've been super supportive. And they have these things called power cards
Mhm.
that you load up and you play games with. There will be Corpus Christi Comic-Con power cards.
Oh, nice.
Which is
That's
super,
awesome.
which is super
Yeah.
dope.
Yeah.
So we'll have some of those. But yeah, we're gonna have a D&B and cosplay, Dave & Buster's and cosplay, the week of Comic-Con. The weekend before Comic-Con, Friday the 21st, we're gonna have a Hooks game. There will be a pregame interview with myself and my partners. One of my partners gets to throw out the first pitch.
Oh, nice.
And then Saturday is our official Corpus Christi Comic-Con kickoff party, which would be at Waves Resort, featuring Schlitterbahn Parks
Mhm.
out there on the island. Then Sunday is Hooks and Cosplay. And then every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it'll be Where is Daniel? And then Friday is setup. Saturday is the Comic-Con. We have a after party which is going to span almost the entire downtown Corpus Christi bar scene.
That's
Which is
awesome.
going to be super
Okay,
dope.
that's
Yeah.
Take the weekend off.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
might
gonna
as
be fun.
well.
It's gonna be fun. Lorelei Brewery is one of our sponsors, and they have donated gifts to people that are 21 and over to our after party. So if you go to one of our after party locations and you have a wristband or a badge from Corpus Christi Comic Con, you will get a free gift, 21 over, courtesy of our friends at Lorelei Brewery. So
Nice.
That's great.
it's a lot of fun. The response, the feedback, the participation, the support that we've gotten from local businesses, from the community, from you guys has been awesome.
Mhm.
And anytime we can do anything to give back, we definitely can. We've given away a ton of tickets. I am going to give you guys tickets to give away on
Awesome.
your
Yeah.
podcast. So it's a lot of fun, man. And I have a big heart for this community. And anytime we can give back, we are going to. So
Very good. Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
2 more questions.
Two more
Yeah,
questions.
keep them coming.
Okay. Well, this is kind of like, can I dress up as my favorite character?
Absolutely.
Okay, like
Yes.
no matter who, like, well, I mean,
Whoa.
appropriate.
Unless you
Yeah.
might be some kind of dress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Family
Okay.
friends.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
When you say any
Not anybody, but
family.
like, if I wanted to be red,
Yeah.
Yes.
I could be red.
Absolutely.
Okay. I mean, that's not possible.
No, it's possible.
But-
You can dress
Yeah.
as
If I wanted to go as
Absolutely.
Tim Curry from that one movie.
One movie.
Pennywise?
The bellhop from Home Alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And then asking for a friend.
Yeah.
Could we do like a remote podcast on the first day?
You know, I am currently, no promises. I'm currently working on something that I think could be cool for you guys.
Oh,
That's
cool.
all I can say.
Okay.
All I can say.
We'll let you work your business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes.
I am actively in the middle of talks to have you guys do something kind of cool.
Cool.
So no promises.
If you need
Yeah.
to sway opinions, we have shirts and stickers.
Yes.
Yeah.
But no, you guys will definitely be at the show in some capacity. But yeah, I am working on something for the For Show podcast because you guys have been great and it's you guys are a blast. So
Oh man.
We're
Appreciate
glad you
it.
have
Thank you.
fun. Yes.
That's all I got.
That's all you got?
No, it says something. What does it say?
What is it? Oh, okay. small lettering.
Both of them.
So if anybody wants to follow you guys, Daniel,
Yeah.
get more information on the Corpus Christi Comic Con, let them know.
Yeah. So they can follow us on Instagram, CCTX Comic Con. They can follow us on Facebook, Corpus Christi Comic Con, Twitter, CCTX Comic Con. We post updates there first. Our website, CorpusChristiComicCon.com. They can buy tickets there. They can buy tickets at HEB. They can buy tickets at the American Bank Center box office. It is June 29th and 30th. That is a Saturday and Sunday. It's going to be a lot of fun. This is our third year. It's going to be fun, man.
Mhm.
The fact that it's almost June in 2019
Yeah.
in itself is nuts. Because I remember when we had picked dates in September, August of last year. I was like, oh yeah, it's far away. Like,
Yeah,
we're
we
totally
got
good.
time.
But it's like now it's like less than a month. It's a month away, and so man, I love it. It's super fun. Our first year, I think I told you guys this last time. Our first year, that entire weekend, I had like 7 hours of sleep
Through the whole.
for like 3-4 days.
Oh.
It was nuts. I mean, it was wild, man. We did crazy things, man. I saw crazy things. It was wild. I was 22 years old again, man. I
I've been to the other side.
Yeah.
And then I slept for a week.
I saw things, man. I saw it. Second year was a little better. I had about a dozen hours of sleep. So, but man, it's fun. I love it. And my partners are here.
All right.
Surprise.
Check, please.
My partners, John Garcia and Ryan Rommel, and our entire staff, they do a great job, and it's super fun. And the dogs are excited. I'm excited.
We're excited. We're
So,
all excited.
Yeah, super exciting.
Oh.
Yeah.
So,
We kind of on a tangent. Have you guys talked about Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland?
No, that was a
We were going
topic.
to talk about it today.
That was a
No?
topic.
We got time?
It opened today.
Got a little bit of time
I
to talk
mean-
about it?
We're
Yeah,
here.
Yeah, you guys are good?
Yeah.
I don't gotta be anywhere. No, so I went to Disney World last February, 2018.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
And Galaxy's Edge, they were working on it, but the wall was there and it was blocked off. But I'm super excited about it. Have you guys ever been to Disney World? Disneyland?
I've been to Disney
Forever.
World.
Disney
I've never been
World.
to Disneyland.
Okay.
Not Disney.
Disneyland is California?
Disneyland's California,
Okay.
Disney World's Florida.
Okay.
I went to the one in Florida when I was 18. I don't really remember it.
Yeah, same.
Uh,
Yeah.
I was drunk the entire time.
Okay, yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
kidding.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. Twitter didn't exist. But we went last year. We took, I was very fortunate enough to take the family. And it was fun. And so I'm looking forward to Galaxy. That being said, we do plan on going, but we're not going to go for like at least a year. So
Yeah,
crowds,
cool
kind
down
of,
a little
yeah,
bit. Yeah.
a little bit.
Super
I think that's what
Go during
Ricardo
the
was saying.
winter.
I'm friends with an agent on Facebook, Peter Mayhew's agent, actually.
Oh.
wow.
Yeah, and he was at the opening night, and George Lucas was there. And
Oh
so
my
he's-
God, George Lucas!
He's got this Facebook Live video, and George Lucas is on stage, and I just saw like a few seconds of it,
Mhm.
and it was really cool. What they've done, just aesthetically, and I mean, it's really, it looks really cool. It's so immersive. It looks so immersive, and I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, it looks really awesome.
They just came out with the promo for the one of the rides over there. The Galaxy.
It's Millennium Falcon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They showed a clip of that. 4
Yeah.
people. And
When our crypto blows up, right, Tim?
yes,
We'll go.
We will.
Yeah, why don't you open it up?
Okay.
We actually got something from a
Why don't you open
fan,
a Coke?
cool.
slash
Yay.
friend,
Yeah.
a very close friend. He
nice.
recently,
Actually,
last
yeah.
year, he moved to
Oh,
Portland.
well.
Oregon. Cody, so he's
Oregon.
Oregon,
Oregon.
the Oregon Trail.
Oregon.
And so he said he sent us something, so we're curious. So we're gonna open it here on the show.
Unless Sarah breaks it, rips it.
I know.
Destroys
I don't know what it is.
It doesn't say fragile on it. It says fragile. Oh, that's cute. Hey.
What is it?
Yeah, it's like we're all like, oh.
It's a print.
Oh my god,
Oh,
that is
awesome.
awesome.
Cup of tea.
That is
Yes.
too cool.
No.
That is awesome.
That's awesome.
Thanks, Cody.
That's exactly how Vader would drink too.
Yes.
Cup of tea, sir.
It reminds me of when
Thank
you
you.
and they were rolling
pretty.
around.
Yeah,
That is
right?
so cool.
Oh, that's great.
That is awesome.
You want to show the camera
Yeah, there you go.
closer?
Can you?
It's cutting off the
Oh,
Boba Fett.
my.
That's awesome. Thank you, Cody.
Very cool. The owners at Lorelei, they're huge
I don't have
nerds.
any
Put one
trouble.
down.
They're huge Star Wars fans.
Mhm.
Well, you guys know these.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we were there.
They have that Darth Vader on a toilet in the restroom.
Uh-huh.
They have a painting.
Yes.
How cool
I
is that?
just gonna
Yeah.
call
I was
it
gonna say-
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
very cool.
All right.
Yes.
Very cool.
It's awesome.
Yeah, we're always, not always, but every once in a while we get stuff from.
People are kind.
Yes,
That's
they
awesome.
are. We
Very
we
good.
actually Marietta Art. She goes by Marietta Art on Instagram. She's from Finland. She sent us some of her artwork.
Wow.
Yeah, and some
This
of
is really
and
cool.
she's from the 501st, and she gave us some of like her trading cards of her dressed up in her officer's uniform and all that. So yeah, we've been so fortunate with fans and friends and family, and people like you and Trent and all our guests that have come on the show and people that listen and watch and are supportive. We've been very fortunate so far. We're a small local podcast, but stuff like this, makes it all worthwhile.
That's awesome.
And we have a great time. We
Yeah.
we want everybody that comes on the show or listens to have fun and talk Star Wars.
There's a lot of support in the fandoms, and
Yeah.
and a celebration of that is fun, and kind of going back to the Comic-Con, that's what a Comic-Con is. It is a celebration of fandoms,
Yeah.
and it's great, man. I mean, you guys do this and you talk for 3 hours, and it's fun.
Yeah.
Like, and it's an escape, from sometimes our harsh reality.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, man, I'm a big supporter. I'm a big proponent of stuff like this, and I always encourage art like that is so fun, and
Yeah.
it's really cool, man.
Yeah.
That's really good too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, does anybody want to add anything else?
Michael?
You can point me out.
Welcome to D&D. We still got stuff.
Tim still got stuff to
I'm
iron out.
not beef, man.
I was like-
It's still not beef.
I was the one that was able to let it go this time.
Man, Tim, geez. He's like, yeah, Micah. Got some on it, Micah.
You know what happens when you keep
Say
on
something now?
keep on beating the fence?
When the 501st couple of years back, we're at the
Was it Star Wars Day?
The
At
museum?
museum,
they did an event at the museum.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. We were there. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
awesome. That was awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh, I think that's where we first
That was your
met
table.
you.
Yeah, we saw your
Yeah.
table.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they gave out the lightsabers, the plastic.
Yeah.
Like that. These guys, right? My wife and I had something else to do, and we had to take off. But the girls went out with these guys to the water garden, and they just destroyed them on each other.
Tim lost.
All it needed was the Revenge of the Sith, Obi-Wan and Anakin soundtrack, and they were just going at it. They totally destroyed him.
Of course, I had the Crimson Saber.
Yeah. It's hilarious. Oh my god.
Yeah, no, but I broke it on his
I
face.
remember
Oh,
going back to the other one. They already had the doors closed in and locked it up.
Yeah. You did the whole let me in.
Yeah.
Let me in.
That's cool.
Sarah, you want to add anything else?
No,
No, you're good.
no, I'm
You're good.
good.
You're good.
We're gonna have a busy June.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
day shift.
Exactly. We sure do. So
Now, when you said find you, like as you're going to have the tickets scattered throughout Corpus,
Mhm.
is it going to be like a thing like here's a clue for the first?
Yeah. No.
Okay,
There'll
awesome.
definitely be something.
Okay. Well, I was just curious. It wasn't
Yeah.
like,
no,
hey,
find me
come to this, come to this.
I'm here in the
somewhere.
Corpus metro area.
Yeah, right.
You're like,
Beeville,
but Daniel,
Tintin,
it's
Athos,
yeah.
Rockport, I'm
Yeah.
somewhere.
Well,
Figure it out.
I just remember they used to do that for the two guys in the morning. I think.
Yeah.
It's because they would have like an obscure
Yeah.
picture, and it's like, hey, I'm buying a light bulb. I'm like, which one?
Hammond or Whataburger.
Yeah.
There's 200. Good luck.
It's like, is it this one? Or is it this one?
No,
Or is it that
it'll be fairly relatively easy
Mhm.
That's awesome.
to know where I'm at. And yeah, it was an idea I had, and we we want, like I said, we want to give back as much as we can, and we want to find new ways to give back every year.
Mhm.
When Harvey hit, we did a donation drive, and we picked up 2 vehicles full
Mhm.
of items, man, and that was it's beautiful
Yeah.
to see the community give. We did a toy drive for some organizations for kids in need, and I love doing this stuff, man. And I feel like it's unfair because I get a lot of joy out of it, and anytime I can use the Comic-Con as a vehicle for something good, man, we want to do it, and
Absolutely.
especially when it involves kids and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it'll be relatively easy to find me. We will give clues. I will have several tickets to give away. And so if you don't get some the first time, you will have plenty of opportunities. But if you don't want to take your chance, you can buy tickets.
Mhm.
There is a pre-sale. Tickets do go up at the door. They go up $5 only at the door. So if you want to save money, you can buy them early or buy them at HEB, but you can get tickets cheaper.
Mhm.
now.
Excellent. Very good.
You guys are awesome.
You're awesome.
You're awesome.
know,
You're an
You know-
amazing person
Yeah.
No.
to come out here and do all this for us.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And the
You know.
things you do for the people at Comic Con,
Mhm.
celebrating.
Yeah.
Keep it coming. Keep it coming.
And the community
Don't
and,
stop.
and the community
Yeah.
overall.
Yeah. No, man.
You know what?
Man of the year.
Oh, girl.
What is that? Man of the City of the year.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yes.
It's a lot of fun, man. And the Comic-Con won't be a success without the people who support it and the people who go.
Mhm.
And so, as long as people keep going, man,
Yeah.
we'll keep doing them and have fun. And
Well, we hope to continue making this a tradition.
yes,
You know, you
Mhm.
coming back
Yeah.
before the Comic-Con starts. Makes it's exciting. You know?
it's fun.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a lot of fun.
Yeah. So, well, I think that about wraps it up. Unless Tim has something in his back pocket with the Game of Thrones. And
His mouth is
his
like
endless
the
debate.
corner of his mouth is like
He can keep going.
his eyes twitching.
Sometimes.
What is
at
it,
work,
Tim?
I gotta settle him down. Like Tim. It's okay.
I know, man.
Yeah, I love
When we
it.
had that, when they built the throne, I was like, it's just like, I need more.
Yeah. So
I need more Thrones.
Did you get some of the Game of Thrones Oreos?
No, man.
Okay.
No.
So at work, they built a display, right? And they made a chair, the throne,
Yeah.
right? But the way they made it, right? Tim was like,
What you gotta
It
do?
was like a
He's
beach
like,
chair.
yeah, it's like a beach chair, and it
Yeah.
had pokey things, and then
I gave you
it
some
looked,
tips to help him more.
yeah, it looked good enough, right?
Yeah.
For a display of like that caliber or whatever. But Tim was like, man, Lewis, that bothers me. It really does. That sword that's supposed to be, it's a little bit too much this way.
Oh.
I'm like, Tim, where you going?
So then Tim went home
I was thinking it
to melt down 1,000 swords himself to create his own.
real props and bring them out.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
Well,
It's like it's been over for 5 years. He's like, I finally made it.
yeah.
Put it right there.
Well, who wants to wrap us up?
Tim?
Yeah, I opened
Good job,
it up,
Tim.
So.
Tim,
Next
got the
person.
wrap
I
up.
guess I'll wrap it up. Yeah. So
Yes.
thank you guys, everyone, for listening. This was episode 48 of the Fourth Stroke Podcast. I'd like to thank Daniel Benavides for being here, and we hope that all you guys will go out to Comic Con and have fun and celebrate. The fandom that's there. This is again going on June 29th and June the 30th. So please go out to Comic Con, have fun. The tickets will be there online or an extra $5 at the door. And so thank you guys, and we'll see you guys next time at the Fourth Stroke Podcast.
Bye.